Hi, I'm Jen Leita, and I'm the academic advisor for the Department of Health and Human Development. And I wanted to share a little bit of information about the kinesiology major. The kinesiology major is a program that is designed to help deepen students' understanding of the human body and human movement. So students in kinesiology are required to take a core of classes to really dig into those concepts at a deeper level. All students within the kinesiology major will be taking classes like anatomy and physiology, measurement and evaluation to learn how do we assess things related to movement, from measuring flexibility, speed and agility, balance, classes in biomechanics to understand physics of the body and movement. How does the body generate force? What is the result of force on the body? Exercise physiology, to understand what's happening in the body's systems during exercise and movement, from respiratory, cardiovascular, muscle systems. Functional anatomy, which is a course that is designed to give students a good understanding of anatomy of the musculoskeletal system and body positioning. Motor control and learning, to understand nervous system involvement and movement. Strength and conditioning program design, which is geared towards helping equip students with a good understanding of sound principles of training theory, so how to design thoughtfully crafted exercise and injury recovery programs. Psychology of sport, to help students not only understand physiological aspects of movement, but also psychosocial factors that are involved with sport performance and participation. In addition to these more traditional academic classes, students will also engage in physical activity classes, which are movement-based classes. We are a field that is passionate about movement. We want our students to engage in movement during their time in the program. In addition to your more traditional classroom settings, students within kinesiology are also going to be required to engage in hands-on or experiential learning. So whether this looks like engaging in field experience or internships, there's definitely an opportunity for students to learn from professionals in the field in addition to your classroom settings. Within the kinesiology major here at Western, we have 3 different major specializations. Within kinesiology, everyone is going to take this core of required classes, some of that content that we just discussed, but then there'll also be an opportunity for distinction for students to specialize in one of these areas. And these specializations are really designed to support students in aligning with their interests or with future career pathways. Those specializations include exercise science, which is a good fit for students that are interested in movement-driven careers, pre-healthcare professions specialization, which is really designed to support students who are potentially looking at going on to graduate school in areas related to allied health. Sports psychology, the sports psychology specialization of the kinesiology major is designed to give students not only an understanding of the physiological sides of movement and performance, but also the psychosocial factors involved with movement and performance. In addition to our 3 kinesiology major specializations, we also offer 2 minors in kinesiology. Students can choose to minor in exercise science or sports psychology. These can be really great opportunities for students who have decided to pursue a bachelor's degree in other content area to supplement their knowledge with an understanding of body and movement or psychology of performance. Oftentimes students that know that they are excited about body and movement will want to know, hey, what can I do with the kinesiology degree? The kinesiology degree can be a really good platform for students who are thinking about going on to pursue graduate school in areas such as physical therapy, occupational therapy. We have students who want to become a physician assistant or go on to chiropractic programs, nursing, athletic training, naturopathy, osteopathy as well. In particular, the pre-healthcare professions specialization is really designed to give students that good understanding of body and movement while also helping them to incorporate classes to help fulfill graduate school prerequisites in these areas. I'm definitely happy to help consult with students on what classes would be a good fit for supporting you in kinesiology, as well as aligning with helping you be prepared for that grad school of interest for you. Other more movement-based careers that students can pursue, particularly from exercise science or sports psychology specializations, students will are oftentimes excited about working in careers in health, fitness, and wellness settings. We've had students go on to become health and wellness coordinators in corporate offices from places like Starbucks or Boeing. students who are excited about going on into becoming a personal trainer, working in different health and fitness club settings, students that want to go on to become strength coaches at the collegiate, professional, or club level, or athletic coaching at those levels as well. For our students that are excited about the mental side of sport performance and are excited about the sports psychology specialization, many of those students may want to go on and become a certified mental performance consultant and deliver sports psychology services to teams and athletes. And that's definitely an opportunity that students can pursue with graduate study and certification. So how does one become a kinesiology major, or when can someone start taking kinesiology major classes? Kin major classes, anything that starts with the letters KIN, those are restricted to students who have already been accepted into the kinesiology major. So first step to becoming a kinesiology major is to apply. We accept applications for admission to the kinesiology major during the first 10 days of every fall, winter, and spring quarter. It's just an online application form that students complete, so it doesn't involve any essays or letters of recommendation. There's no required classes students have to complete before they can apply for admission to the major. Instead, students are eligible to apply for admission once they have completed at least 75 total quarterly college credits. So that is including Western credits completed at Western, as well as any transfer or running start credits that you bring with you. Students do have to have a minimum GPA of 2.5 or higher in order to apply for admission to the major, and they have to be enrolled in taking classes at Western, at least one class in the quarter in which they are applying. We determine admission to the kinesiology major based on looking at students' academic history and looking at their GPA. We calculate what's called a weighted GPA, or kind of your collegiate cumulative GPA. So what we'll do is we will ask a little bit of information on that online application about how many credits have you completed, credits that you've done at Western, credits you've completed at any previous colleges or universities. We'll also ask you to share your Western GPA and your GPA at previous colleges or universities you attended. So the online application form that's open during those first 10 days of fall, winter, and spring quarter is designed to be pretty quick for you to complete and just share that information. If you have any transfer credits that you bring with you to Western, we'll ask that you please send me an unofficial copy of your transfer transcripts just so that I can review that information to determine if you would meet admission criteria to the major. Admission to the major is determined by GPA. So what we'll do is we'll calculate your weighted GPA, which is kind of a cumulative of all of your college GPAs. And then we will rank all of our applicants by that weighted GPA and the specializations to which they've applied. And then we extend offers of admission based upon how many spots we have available in the major in each of those specializations. Like I said, we do not have any prerequisite or required classes that students have to complete before starting the major. So different major programs may work a little bit differently in terms of saying, all right, you have to complete these prerequisites first. That's not the case in Kin. We just want to know that you have completed a total of 75 or more credits. Generally encourage students to prioritize working through GURs to help in kind of reaching that 75 credits needed to apply. We accept about 140 students into the major every year. The number of students we admit per quarter varies a little bit based upon seat capacities in some of the classes that students take in the major. So for students who apply during the first 10 days of spring quarter to start the kinesiology major in fall, we accept around 70 students at that time. And then for students who are applying during the first 10 days of fall quarter to start the major in winter, or who are applying during the first 10 days of winter quarter to start the major in spring, we have about 35 spots in each of those quarters to admit new students into the major at that time. So for students who are waiting to become eligible to apply for admission to the Kin major, oftentimes I get asked, hey, what classes can I take? Like I said, you cannot take any kinesiology major classes, anything that starts with KN, until you've been admitted to the major. But there are definitely some productive classes you can be taking prior to admission. Definitely focus on GURs. That's a great thing to allow you to not only explore content across Western's departments, but also a great space to be focusing on classes that can be supporting you towards your journey in kinesiology or towards future graduate school prerequisites along the way. One class that students are required to take during their time in the major is anatomy and physiology, which is biology 348. I encourage students to explore taking one of the prerequisites for that class prior to getting into the kinesiology major. So students can take Biology 101, or they can take a combination of Biology 204 and 205 prior to the major. Both Biology 101 and Biology 204 and 205, those are both lab science GURs, so definitely a productive class. It's going to check that one of your GUR boxes, as well as help you to be prepared to take Biology 348 once you get into the major. Not sometimes, especially for students in pre-healthcare, it's not a requirement, but sometimes students are well served to take Chemistry 161. So that sometimes that's a good fit for students. That's an elective in the kinesiology, pre-healthcare professions and exercise science specializations. So sometimes that's a good class to prioritize before starting the major. Like I said, it's not a required class. And if you've got questions about whether taking chemistry is a good idea for you, I'm always happy to offer assistance in that area. For students who are excited about the sports psychology specialization, definitely encourage students to take Psych 101. Also, you can start, once Psych 101 is completed, you can start working through some of the 200 level psychology classes, things like lifespan and developmental psychology, intro to behavioral and mental health, social psych. All of those classes are great options. And you don't have to be a declared major in order to take those. For students who are interested in the pre-healthcare professions specialization, usually the classes I suggest are ones that are designed to help prepare you for meeting your individual grad school prerequisites. So for students who are excited about physical therapy or occupational therapy or physician assistant, oftentimes those prerequisites for graduate study are not major restricted. So that can be content from biology or chemistry or physics. And so those are classes that we can start working through some of those progressions. Always happy to support students on deciding, hey, do I need to take chemistry? Do I need to take physics? Is it a good idea for me to take the biology series? The answer to that really is it depends on your individual student goals and what what areas of graduate study are you interested in pursuing. So we've got some resources online to help you in selecting that, and I'm always happy to meet with students to talk about your individual goals and what's a good idea for you to take. For students who are interested in the exercise science specialization, there are a lot of electives in that specialization that students can take prior to getting into the major. So that can be from areas such as computer sciences, communication studies, psychology, biology, chemistry. And so if you are nearing the end of, or you've completed your GURs and you're looking at options of like, hey, I'm going to be applying for admission to the major next quarter, what can I be taking right now? Some of those are the content that I tend to encourage students to prioritize. Questions about what ones would be a good fit for you, definitely come and see me. Once students have applied for admission into the kinesiology major and are accepted into the program, what can you expect? Well, one of your first steps after you've been admitted to the major will be to meet with me. We have to meet before you actually become a kinesiology major officially, and before you can start registering to take in classes. And really that's designed to support you in prioritizing, hey, what should we have you take in your first quarter in the major to support you well and make sure that you're progressing through the major in a thoughtful way, and also to do some big picture planning. During our meeting, we talk about what to be taking in your first quarter, and then we sketch out a rough draft of what your rest of your time at Western might look like. This plan that we create is not something that is set in stone. It will definitely change throughout your time in the program, but it's really designed to be kind of a map or an overview about what your time in the program might look like, to make sure that you are well supported in fulfilling kin major requirements and moving through the major in a thoughtful way, while also fulfilling Western graduation requirements. If grad school is something that you are planning on, we can talk about rolling in graduate school prerequisites as well. So this is kind of like our starting spot of going, hey, based on your goals, based on your individual accomplishments and what you've completed so far, this is kind of what your time in the program will look like. In addition to my support as your academic advisor, I'm here to support you with questions you have for class planning, applying for admission to the major, registration questions, applying for graduation. In addition to my support, you'll also have the support of a faculty mentor. Your faculty mentor will be a member of the kinesiology faculty, usually whose interests align roughly with what yours are, and they are there to support you with kind of all of the questions that feel very real world. So whether that's career planning, whether that's helping to prepare you for field experience or internship, those kind of hands-on experiential learning opportunities, whether that's questions about graduate study, you'll also have their support. So our goal is to make sure that that you have a space to answer to ask all of your questions. Speaking of questions, some frequently asked questions about the kinesiology major. One of those, can I take kin classes before I am accepted into the major? The answer to that is unfortunately no. Kinesiology classes, in order to be eligible to take those, you do have to apply for admission to the program and already be accepted into those. Students who are pursuing their bachelor's degree in other content area, who are sports psychology minors or exercise science minors, they have access to a selection of kinesiology classes, but they have to have approval in order to be able to take those. Sometimes students go, well, I'm looking at all of these specializations in kin, and I kind of have interest in all of those, which is not an uncommon situation. How do you know which one is right for me? Generally, I encourage students to think about the areas that they're most interested or passionate about, or future career goals. If you know that you are passionate about movement-driven careers, and that might look like coaching, it might look like becoming an athletic trainer, it might look like personal training, it might look like being in a health and wellness setting, so movement-driven, if movement is really that key thing that lights you up, I generally think that exercise science is a pretty good fit. For students who are excited about going on, particularly to graduate study for careers in allied health, the pre-healthcare profession specialization is usually a really good fit. It gives you that good understanding of body and movement and allows you the flexibility to move through different electives within the pre-health major that are designed to support you towards graduate school. So it allows you that flexibility if right now you're thinking, I really see myself doing PT, but as you're digging into more classes in the major or getting experience and shadowing, maybe that starts to look a little different. And you're thinking, maybe that looks like occupational therapy now, or maybe that looks like becoming a physician assistant. Allows you that flexibility to now focus on classes that are preparing you for those pathways. Sports psych is probably the most distinct of those specializations, and really kind of a great fit for people who want kind of this wraparound approach to wellness. So interested in the psychology, the behavioral side of things, interested in the physiology. Really nice for folks that potentially maybe want to go on to personal training, or coaching is a really great fit for, or for people who want to go on to do become a sport performance consultant for teams and athletes. One question that students ask is, what happens if I am not accepted into the kinesiology major? Acceptance into the kin major can really vary. It's varied widely quarter to quarter or year by year. A couple of years ago, it was not uncommon for us to have more applicants into the major than we had spots. And so sometimes students would apply multiple times before getting admission. In more recent quarters, we've been able to accommodate all those students who have met admission criteria. So it can be a little bit challenging to predict, is it going to be super competitive or not for students to get in? If students aren't accepted into the kin major, I'm always happy to just talk you through your options. What would it look like to wait and apply again next quarter? Or to help you in exploring if other majors are a better fit for either a timeline for graduation or your interests. So definitely feel free to chat with me about what next steps and what the future might look like for you. Sometimes students will start in one major specialization, and then as they are getting into content in kinesiology, may find that a different specialization actually becomes a greater interest or a better fit for their needs. Students can apply to change major specializations. What that looks like is you just submit a new major application during our major application time. So say you started the kinesiology exercise science major in fall quarter, but then decided that you took sports psychology and it lit you up and you wanted to switch and become a sports psychology major instead. You would then just submit a new application in the next application window. And if you met admission criteria, you could then apply and switch specializations at that time. Oftentimes, students will ask how long it will take to complete the kinesiology major. The answer is really, it depends. And it depends on your individual goals. For some students that come in with a lot of transfer credits already completed, all of their GURs are done, and are just focused on getting through the kinesiology major as fast as they can. And some students are going to be coming in, wanting to go on to med school, or maybe haven't taken a lot of science classes, and that's their goal. And so they want to make sure that they're getting what they need in all fronts for fulfilling, their kin major, their Western graduation requirements, their med school requirements. That could take a little bit longer. So really it's, how it takes as long as it takes for you to get what you need to help you in the what comes next. Typically for students who are, just kind of prioritizing mostly their major requirements, I would say typically, about 5 to 6 quarters is not uncommon, but again, that can really, really vary depending on your individual goals, classes that you've taken prior to getting into the major. So I always say it takes as long as it takes to make sure that you're getting what you need for what comes next. If you've got other questions or you want to talk more specifically about what the kin major would look like for you, you can check out information on our website or come and see me. I'm available for in-person and remote meetings, so you can meet me on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or by phone, or you can come by my office in Carver 201A. I've got a scheduling platform where you can visit. It's at calendly.com/GenLeita, where you can pick a date and time and a meeting modality that works for you, and we can talk more about the kin major and what this looks like for you. Please do not hesitate to contact me if I can be of help to you. I look forward to being of assistance to you during your time.